Hi, I'm Tereza with Potomac Beads. Today we will work together on an advanced project which I call Rose Window Pendant, which is full of bezeled crystals, Ginko beads, halo for SuperDuo beads, and lots of bling. So let's gather the beads and start working. For my Rose Windows pendant, we will be working with wildfire thread and size 12 needle. Start with some comfortable length of thread I'm using for this arm span long piece. We'll be starting from the middle, adding a Rivoli, doing the netting on it, halos and ginkgos, and then we will proceed to the edge. So first what we need to do is to create the base for the Rivoli together with the netting. So I will be working with halos for SuperDuo beads. They are metal, 2-hole and fit for the SuperDuo beads. The best way how to put the SuperDuo and halo on is insert the SuperDuo inside the halo and put it on. Don't forget to check the SuperDuos if they have 2 holes, since 2-hole screen. And we need to add 8 halos, 8 SuperDuos, and always a 15-0 seed bead between them. So now I'm adding one 15-0. And I will add 7 more of these. So now you should have on your thread 8 halos and 8 SuperDuos and 8 15-0s between them. Then take the thread and make a knot to create a circle. I'm making 3 knots in total. Like this. So now you should have something that looks like a flower. Now we'll be adding ginkgos here into the gaps. So we have a flat base for the Rivoli when we will be adding the crystal and the stitching. So now you need to step up. So let's go to the first hole of the SuperDuo and the halo. And then to the second hole of the same bead. Now always pick a ginkgo. So I'm going from the left side, so I'm going through the left hole. You can also hide the tail right away if you don't like it. And then add 5 15-0s. Go through the second hole of the ginkgo and of the second hole of the SuperDuo and the halo on the other side, and like this go around the whole flower. After adding the last ginkgo, you are ready to add the Rivoli. So for that we need to go back down again to the first hole of the halo and the SuperDuo. So step down again and first step is adding one 15-0 on top of the one we already have here. So now I'm skipping the 15-0 which is here already, and I'm going through the halo and the SuperDuo. We will use these for the netting. So add 8 15-0s in total for this row. After adding the last 15-0, go also again through the halo and the SuperDuo and step up through the first 15-0 you added. And from here we will start the netting. So pick 2 15-0s, 1 Delica bead, I'm using the size 11-0, and 2 more 15-0s and go through the 15-0 you added in the previous row. So now the seed bead bridge we just made will be sitting on top of the halo with the SuperDuo, and like this continue. So add always 4 15-0s and 1 Delica in the middle. Going around the whole flower again. So I'm finishing this row of the bezel, and to step up also go through the first 2 15-0s added with the first group and the Delica. So since it's netting, we will be starting from the bead in the middle. And now you are repeating the same. So you are adding 4 15-0s and 1 Delica in the middle. And you will be going only through the Delicas from the previous group, from the previous row. So it will look like this. So always 4 15-0s and 1 Delica in the middle. Again, go like this around the whole bezel, and you will finish again by stepping up through the 2 15-0s and the Delica in the middle from the first group you added in this row. Now you can insert the Rivoli, and we will be closing the netting with 15-0 seed beads. So my thread is exiting out of the Delica, which I stepped up through, and now I will be picking always 2 15-0s and going through the Delica in the middle from the next group. And you can start pulling so that the netting will start closing. And like this, I will always add 2 15-0s. When I'm done adding the 15-0s, I will go probably twice through this last row made out of those 2 15-0s and the Delicas to make really sure that the bezel is closed and that the Rivoli is staying inside. So add 2 15-0s always between the Delicas around the whole bezel. So I went once more through the last row here on top of the Rivoli. Also, I forgot to mention that the Rivoli is 14mm. To be able to sit on top of those halos, the 12mm Rivoli would totally go through. And now, after that, I just went through the beads following the natural lines of the netting, and then through the halo with the SuperDuo, Ginko, and then I ended up here where my thread is coming out of the 15-0s. So doesn't really matter where you will go through, just get neatly there following the beads, and what you want to do is to be exiting one of those 15-0s here on this side or on this side, doesn't really matter. So now I'll be adding more Ginkos and more 15-0s. So when you look here, we are at this point. So add 1 15-0, pick 1 Ginko. We are still working with the same orientation, so we are adding them in the same direction. Then add again 5 15-0s that will sit on top of this Ginko. Go through the other hole, add 1 15-0 and go through the 5 15-0s on the top of the next Ginko from the bottom row. And like this, add 7 more beads. So after finishing this row, you want to step up through the first Ginko you added, and you will go through the 5 15 here at the top, so your thread will be exiting from here. Now you can put this part aside because we will need to bezel 8 SS39 chatons. So I have here Preciosa Chatons in Sapphire color, and we'll be bezeling them using Wildfire, Delica's 15-0s, and needle you like. You can also do size 10 for this. So I'm using another piece of Wildfire, shorter this time, and I have on 22 Delicas in size 11-0, and then I will go through them on the other side to make a circle. So you want to make, I already bezeled a chaton for a video, but what you want to make is 3 rows of Delicas in total. So we'll be adding now with POD 1 row of Delicas, which will give us 3 in total. So pick 1 Delica, skip a bead and go to the next one. If you don't know POD, you can watch Ellie's tutorial on how to bezel a Rivoli. It will be pretty similar. And add 11 beads like this, and at the end don't forget to step up and exit through the bead here, which is the first Delica you added in this row. So now we have 3 rows of Delicas, and we will be adding 2 rows of 15-0s, and this will be our back side. So once it turns, we'll be inserting the chaton. So add 2 rows of 15-0s. If you need any more information on how to bezel a crystal, you can check Ellie's video, you can check my video on how to bezel a Rivoli, or if you check my Radiant Starburst earrings, there's a bezeled chaton in that as well, which was done more detailed. So definitely check it out. Otherwise, if you are skilled, just make 2 rows of POD, and then we'll be inserting the chaton. So after adding 2 rows of 15-0s, your beadwork should look like that. And now you want to step up to this outside row, which was the first basic row of Delicas, and this is currently our back side. So insert the chaton, the back facing the 2 rows of 15-0s, and now we will add 1 more row of 15-0s here in the front. If you need to, you can add 2 definitely, if you feel like it's not closing enough. For me, 1 row is fine. And after that, I will knot off the thread, cut the ends, and that's my chaton done. Then I need to bezel 7 more. You need 8 of these in total. So gather up your patience and start bezeling. So I will be finishing this and then doing 7 more. After that, we can finish up the pendant itself. I'll just quickly finish this row to show you the final bezel. Don't forget to pull tight so that the beads are really closing around the chaton. When you're pulling tight, you shouldn't be in need of the second row in the front. So now when I pull a lot, it's closed. I don't feel like the chaton will pop out. I will knot off the ends and do the other chatons, and then we can continue. So when you have all the chatons bezeled, we will put them into the upper row, into the gaps between the Ginko beads. So your thread is coming out of these 5 15-0s. We will be working with more 15-0 beads. I am using a different color, but you can still use the same bronze one. The second color is matte black AB. we will be sewing through the middle row of delicas on the chaton bezel. So it's the row underneath the 15 rows there. And we will be working through 4 beads in this row total. So first go through the first bead, and then we will be also attaching the chatons to the middle 15 row on the Ginko. But first we need to go to the second delica. So go through the delicas of the bezel to the second delica in the middle row, like this. And now, so we are in the second bead, and we can go through the middle 15 row in this row of 15 rows sitting on top of the Ginko in the lower row. And now we need to go to the third delica on the chaton bezel. So go to the next one. And now we need to go to the fourth one, to the final one. So again, go through a bead in the first row and then through the fourth bead. And now we will be picking one 15 row bead. Don't forget to pull so that the chaton is sitting close in the gap. Add one 15 row of the second color, but you can still use the bronze. That's totally up to you. And go to the row of 15 row sitting on top of the Ginko in the upper row. And now we'll be adding more embellishments, which will sit on top of the Ginkos. And on top of these Ginkos in the upper row, we'll be adding small decorative loops made from Miyuki 11-0s and Miyuki 15-0s. I'm using again the matte black AB color and bronze 15-0s. So go to the middle 15-0 in this row. And from there, we'll be adding 6 Miyuki 11-0s and creating a small loop. So put on 6 11-0s. And go, slide them down and go through the same bead but from the opposite side. So that now you will have a loop. And continue to the first 11-0 of the loop. And you'll be adding one 15-0 bead between each 11-0. And I'll be using again the bronze colors. So go to the second 11-0. Pick another 15-0 and go to the third. Another to the fourth. And like this, 5 15-0 in total. And then continue through the row of the 15-0s, so through the middle one again and the next 2 sitting on top of the Ginko bead. And from here you're ready to add another chaton, so like we already did, pick a 15-0, I'm using the second color, go to the Delica bead in the middle row on the chaton bezel, slide it down, continue through the bezel to the second Delica in the middle row, then through the 15-0 in the middle sitting on top of the lower Ginko, then through the third Delica bead, and then also continue through the bezel to the fourth Delica, and like this add chaton into each gap and one decorative loop on top of each Ginko bead in this upper row. So at this point I finished adding all those crystals and these little circles between them. I finished here at this 15-0, and what we need to do is to add 15-0s here at the top and connect with Delicas the circles and the chatons, and also adding few more Delicas around the chaton bezel. So what you want to do now is continue around the circle, and we need to get here to this second 15-0. Like this. Now pick two of those bronze 15-0s and get through this second, actually sorry, third 15-0 in the bezel of the circle, and now pick another two 15-0s and go to the another bronze 15-0, and that's it. You will always add 4 15-0s here at the top, and then you will need the Delicas again. I'm using the same color like the one I used for the bezel. So pick one Delica and go to the closest bead in the middle row, so the same row like we were using for attaching the chaton to the Ginkos and to the row of 15-0s. So you will connect the circle and the chaton. It is this one. So this is the one we used for adding the chaton to this Ginko. Then you skip the next one, and the third one is the one you are using now. But you can visually see it's definitely the closest one. Then you will pick another Delica, go to the next Delica in the middle row of the bezel, repeat with one more Delica, third, and the last one, number 4. So on top of those chaton you will be adding 4 in total, one by one always, and then you will continue to the circle. So pick another Delica and go through this 15-0 here of the circle, and that connects your chaton to the circle. Now it repeats around the whole pendant, so always add 4 15-0s in total on top of the circle. Then connect another project here in hiding. Then connect, with Delica, the circle and chaton, and then add 4 Delicas at the top, and like this continue around the whole pendant. And then finally we will add 2 loops, and that will be our bail, and then the pendant is done. So for the final touch we need the 2 bails. I'm making the bails in here between these 2 Delicas and these 2 Delicas here. They are slightly closer to the circle. My previous row was finished here, and then I managed to go through the beads here to the Delica I will start working from. So get here to this third Delica on this bezel. We'll be working with the bronze 15-0s, and we'll be creating 2 bails with herringbone stitch. So pick 2 15-0s and go to the second Delica. They will be sitting between now, and we need to get to them, to the first one, so that we can continue in the herringbone stitch. So how I do it is I go to the back side and through the peyote here. I need to turn 180 degrees so I can get to the first 15-0 here. So just go through the beads so that the thread stays hidden on the front and on the back, and here you're ready to start your herringbone. So pick another 2 15-0s, go to the second 15-0 from the previous row, position them, and then with the classic herringbone go to the other side and up, and like this, adding 2 15-0s at a time and using herringbone stitch work your small ladder, which we will then connect and make the first bail out of it. So in total I had 18 of these couples. Maybe you will need to adjust according to the tension of your thread, because if you are pulling too much it will be tough to close the bail. So you might add 19-20 couples, that's fine. Or if you know what kind of rope you will be using, don't forget to make the bail big enough so you can put the rope through the eyes, through the loops. So I have 18 beads, 18 couples here in total. So let me finish that and then I'll get back to you. So now when I have 18 couples, I can fold the circle, fold the band actually, and to create a circle. So fold it, don't cross the thread, and on the same side your thread is coming from, go from top to bottom in the direction towards the crystal, like this, through the first couple of the herringbone, so like something like this, and then back up through the second bead, pull so that the circle closes, and now on this other side go through all the beads, which will strengthen the whole herringbone band and also make it even, because you might have noticed that on one side the beads are a bit more closer to each other because you went twice through the beads there, and now with this it will even out. So go through all of them, finishing at the base again. And if you have a thread long enough, unlike me, you can go again through the beads here, the one from the previous row, and you want to get to this Delica here, which is the first one that sticks out, and we will be adding a second bail there in the totally same style. So get here, add 18 couples of 15-0s, create the bail, and that's actually all. And with the second bail the pendant is finished. So here I will knot off my thread somewhere, which you will do after the second bail too, and we are at the same page and finished. And after you finish the second bail, the rose window pendant is done. So I hope you enjoyed watching and making this tutorial. If you need any of those materials, you can go into the description below the video, where there are links to our US and EU site where you can purchase everything you need. If you finish it, or if you have any questions, you can post your pictures to our Facebook group for beading and jewelry making, or let us a comment in the comment section below the video. We'll be super happy to see your creations. So thank you very much for watching and see you in the next one.